passed away, Kelly is seen struggling through tears to introduce the ballad she wrote as a love letter to her late ex-husband and then rewrote twice after their split.
Brandon Blackstock was more than just an ex-husband to Kelly Clarkson. They were married for nearly a decade and shared 2 kids together. However, Brandon gave up the ghost a few days ago on the 7th of August.
Bad news to report now. Kelly Clarkson's ex-husband, Brandon Blackstock, has died.
While the entire music industry, his family, and the world were thrown into mourning, Kelly Clarkson has broken her silence about her ex-husband. Revealing chilling details about Brandon Blackstock, Kelly Clarkson has proven that the world did not truly know her ex-husband for all the things that he was. Join us in this video as we reveal all Kelly had to say. What Kelly Clarkson revealed about her ex-husband, Brando Blackstock. Blackstock passed away at the age of 48 after battling cancer for more than 3 years. His representative confirmed to NBC News on August 7th. It is with great sadness that we share the news that Brandon Blackstock has passed away, the statement read. Brandon bravely fought cancer for over 3 years. He passed peacefully, surrounded by his family. We are grateful for your thoughts and prayers, and we ask that everyone respect the family's privacy during this very difficult time. The heartbreaking news came just a day after Kelly revealed he had been unwell, announcing she was canceling the rest of her Las Vegas shows. While I usually keep my personal life private, this past year my children's father has been ill, and right now I need to be fully present for them, the American Idol alum wrote on Instagram on August 6th. Kelly and Brandon shared 2 children, 11-year-old River Rose and 8-year-old Remington Remy Alexander. The funeral day was the kind of gray, heavy day that seemed to echo the weight in everyone's hearts. Family, friends, and loved ones gathered in quiet grief to say goodbye to Brandon Blackstock, Kelly Clarkson's ex-husband and the father of her 2 children. The funeral, small and private, carried a deep emotional charge. It wasn't just a farewell, it was a moment of reflection on a life once closely connected to one of music's most celebrated voices. But it was Kelly's tribute that moved the room to tears. Her words were unguarded and raw, a reminder that even when love changes shape, the bonds of family and shared history can remain unshakable. Brandon was more than the man once married to Kelly Clarkson. He was a father, a son, a friend, and someone who touched lives in ways the public never truly saw. In the music industry, he was known as a dedicated talent manager who spent years guiding artists and navigating the relentless pace of entertainment. Away from the spotlight, he was a devoted dad to River Rose and Remington Alexander, a man with a quiet sense of humor, a love for the outdoors, and a fierce protectiveness for his family. The service took place in a peaceful, camera-free setting. White flowers lined the space, their fragrance mingling with the soft strains of music. Guests spoke in low voices, sharing memories and offering comfort. Kelly arrived holding her children close. She stayed composed, but those near her could see the weight in her eyes. There was no bitterness in her presence, only respect, grief, and a clear desire to honor the father of her children. When it was her turn to speak, the room fell into complete silence. Kelly stepped forward, her voice trembling at first, but growing steady as she spoke from the heart. "Life has a way of taking us on paths we never expected," she began. "Brandon and I shared years together, years filled with laughter, challenges, music, and the joy of raising 2 incredible kids. No matter how life changed, he was and always will be an important part of our story. Today, we say goodbye, but we also say thank you for the memories, for the lessons, and for the love that will live on through our children." Her words resonated deeply, not just for their sincerity, but for the truth they carried. Love can evolve, but it never truly disappears when there's shared family and history. How did the world react to this moving tribute and revelation from Kelly Clarkson? Did Blackstock really deserve the kind of tribute he got? Keep watching to find out. Reactions to Kelly Clarkson's revelation about Brandon Blackstock. Although the service was private, news of Kelly's moving tribute quickly spread. Fans from around the world sent messages of condolence and admiration for her grace in such a painful moment. Social media was filled with posts honoring Brandon's life and supporting Kelly, her children, and his family. Many were struck by her ability to set aside personal differences in the face of loss, choosing instead to honor the man who had once shared her life. In the days after the funeral, those close to the family spoke of the need to protect River and Remington during this difficult time. Kelly, known for her fierce devotion to her children, has been doing everything possible to ensure they feel loved, supported, and safe as they navigate their grief. The road ahead will not be easy, but the unity shown at the service was a reminder that even in loss, love remains the strongest force of all. Brandon Blackstock's passing has left many reflecting on the fragile nature of life and on the bonds that endure beyond it. How quickly the chapters we think will last forever can come to an end. In moments like this, the noise of daily life fades away, leaving only the truths that truly matter: love, connection, and the legacy we leave behind. Brandon Blackstock's story wasn't just a series of milestones. It lived in the quiet moments, a laugh shared over coffee, the sound of his children's voices calling for him, long conversations that carried on late into the night. It was in the way he could brighten a room without being the loudest person there, and how he made those around him feel seen and valued. While his career in the music industry brought him recognition and success, his most cherished role, the one that defined him, was being a father to River Rose and Remington Alexander. That's where his heart truly lived, and where his legacy will endure. Every bedtime story read, every scraped knee gently bandaged, every proud smile at a school event, these moments are now woven into the fabric of his children's memories. They will carry these images of their father for the rest of their lives, shaping the way they remember him. Kelly Clarkson's tribute to Brandon was more than a formal goodbye. It was an emotional bridge connecting the years they shared. Standing at the front of the chapel, her voice carried the weight of grief and the warmth of gratitude. She didn't speak as a global superstar, but as a woman who had once loved deeply, built a life with someone, and brought 2 children into the world with him. Her words acknowledged the complexities of their story, that love doesn't always end the way it begins, and that life sometimes takes people down different paths. But in that moment, none of the headlines, court battles, or public speculation mattered. What remained was respect, shared history, and the unbreakable bond of family. What remained was the simple truth: they were family and always would be, because of the children they shared. What kind of connection did Kelly Clarkson share with her ex-husband Brandon Blackstock before his passing? Was their bond that deep? Let's see. The love story between them. Kelly Brianne Clarkson was born in Fort Worth, Texas, to Jean Ann, a first-grade English teacher, and Stephen Michael Clarkson, a former engineer. She has 2 older siblings, a brother, Jason, and a sister, Alyssa, as well as 2 younger half-brothers from her father's second marriage. When Kelly was 6, her parents divorced. Her brother went to live with their father, her sister moved in with an aunt, and Kelly stayed with her mother. Jan later married Jimmy Taylor. Clarkson is of English, Welsh, Irish, and Greek ancestry. Through her mother's side, she is a descendant of Republican State Senator Isaiah Rose, a family history she explored on the TV series Who Do You Think You Are? In 2013. Raised in the Southern Baptist tradition, Kelly was deeply involved in church life from a young age. She once recalled, "I grew up in church. I was the leader of our youth group. I've always been close to church and with God, but I think I've just gotten a lot closer because He's the only one I can lean on." She also described her family as highly conservative, noting that church attendance was mandatory on both Sundays and Wednesdays. Clarkson grew up in Burleson, Texas, and attended Pauline Hughes Middle School. In 7th grade, choir teacher Cynthia Glenn overheard her singing in a hallway and encouraged her to audition for the school choir. At the time, Kelly had no professional vocal training. She later graduated from Burleson High School in 2000, performing in school musicals such as Annie Get Your Gun, 7 Brides for 7 Brothers, and Brigadoon. During this time, she began formal voice training, hoping to earn a college scholarship for music. After graduating from high school, Kelly Clarkson turned down full scholarships to the University of Texas at Austin, the University of North Texas, and Berklee College of Music. She explained her choice by saying, "I'd already written so much music and wanted to try on my own. I figured you're never too old to go to college." Determined to break into the industry, she worked various jobs to fund a demo, recording songs and shopping them around to record labels, only to face little interest. She even rejected 2 offers from Jive Records and Interscope Records because, as she put it, they would have completely pigeonholed me as a bubblegum act. I was confident enough that something better would come along. In 2001, Clarkson moved to Los Angeles to chase her musical dreams. She landed extra roles on TV shows like Sabrina, The Teenage Witch, and Dharma and Greg, and collaborated with songwriter Jerry Goffin to record 5 demo tracks in hopes of securing a deal. But most labels turned her down, saying her voice sounded too black for the market. With few opportunities and after a fire destroyed her apartment, Clarkson returned home to Burleson, Texas, where she took on various jobs to get back on her feet. She later found stardom and became one of the most loved singers in America. In February 2012, Kelly Clarkson began dating talent manager Brandon Blackstock, the son of her former manager Narvel Blackstock and the former stepson of country star Reba McEntire. The two married on October 20, 2013, at the scenic Blackberry Farm in Walland, Tennessee. During their marriage, Brandon also served as her manager. They welcomed 2 children together, a daughter in June 2014 and a son in April 2016. But in June 2020, Clarkson filed for divorce, citing irreconcilable differences. So, what went wrong? Why did they split up? Did she still love him even after the divorce? Keep watching to find out. What went wrong? Between Kelly Clarkson and Kelly grew up hurt and abandoned by her dad, which left her struggling in love and unsure of what to look for in a man. She considered herself a free spirit and never imagined she'd get married or have kids, until she met a man so loving that he slowly picked up all her broken pieces and put her back together. She didn't even know men like that existed and felt incredibly lucky. For the first time, she wasn't alone for Thanksgiving or Christmas, and she was genuinely happy. It was her friend Blake who convinced Brandon, his manager, to propose, telling him to get your head out of yourself and ask this girl to marry you. The two tied the knot with a passionate kiss, and Kelly proudly tweeted, "I'm officially Mrs. Blackstock." She trusted Brandon to be her manager, believing he supported her dreams and fully believed in her as an artist. Their arrangement felt perfect. He traveled, knew the business, and understood her work without her needing to explain herself. Over the next 7 years, Kelly built the family she'd always dreamed of, welcoming children and embracing motherhood wholeheartedly. But behind closed doors, Kelly's marriage was falling apart. Love can make you do incredible things, and incredibly stupid things. "I'm a fixer," she admitted. "I think everything is salvageable. But you can't help someone if they're not willing to climb up there with you. This isn't happiness, not for either of us. I'm exhausted from trying. It shouldn't be this difficult." Things got so ugly that Kelly gave up on the one thing that had mattered most to her. She recalled sitting on a flight home after dropping off her kids with him, still clinging to the fence. But the brutality of it all had left her drained. "I don't think there's any light left," she realized. Then came the question that changed everything. I looked at my daughter and thought, would I want this marriage for her? Would I want her to be in this position? The answer was simple, no. So why was she accepting it for herself? When Kelly Clarkson announced her divorce from Brandon Blackstock, it shocked everyone. She was devastated to see the breakdown of the family she had worked so hard to build. "It rips you apart," she said. "When you fall in love with someone and it doesn't work, it's like a death. You grieve something you thought would last forever. I was destroyed, on the ground, crying. The pain was so deep I couldn't even describe it. I told my therapist through sobs, I cannot do this." One friend understood all too well because he'd been there himself. Blake Shelton, who had gone through his own divorce from Miranda Lambert after 4 years, told her, "All this darkness and the breakup, you get to a point where you just have to move past it. Move on." While Kelly Clarkson focused on protecting her kids, Brandon fought back, demanding $301,000 a month in spousal support and $2 million in attorney's fees, despite quitting his career. He even sought custody of their children, putting everything Kelly had built at risk. She refused to let him take more, claiming he had defrauded her by overcharging astronomical fees as her manager. The judge agreed, noting that after their separation, Brandon deliberately left his career to become a full-time rancher. Kelly won primary custody of the kids and the backing of close friends like Blake Shelton, who cut ties with Brandon and called Kelly the best thing that ever happened to him. Despite her anger toward her ex, Kelly still wanted her children to feel they had a family, teaching them that a perfect home doesn't mean staying in an unhealthy relationship. She came out stronger, learning hard lessons she believed she needed, and poured her healing into her album Chemistry, describing it as her personal journal. "Man, when you find yourself again, it's really nice," she reflected. "Piece by piece, I found out my hero is me." In February 2022, she legally changed her name to Kelly Brianne for personal reasons, while keeping Kelly Clarkson for her public career. She explained that the change was tied to a strained relationship with her late father. Given such a past with Blackstock, what does her tribute at his funeral signify? What would life be for her from now on? Keep watching to find out. Moving forward. Kelly's words reached far beyond the chapel walls. They were a reminder that respect and compassion can survive the end of a marriage, that grief doesn't require romantic love to still cut deep, and that honoring someone's life is one of the purest acts of humanity. As the final notes of the last song faded, a stillness settled over the room, quiet, almost sacred. The gentle rustle of tissues, the soft sniffles from the pews, and the steady hum of the organ formed a tender soundtrack to shared sorrow. White lilies and roses framed the front of the chapel, their fragrance mingling with the scent of polished wood and faint candle wax. Guests lingered long after the service had ended, reluctant to step away from the space where so much raw emotion had been laid bare. Old friends embraced like reunited family. Industry colleagues who had worked alongside Brandon spoke in low voices, sharing memories that would never appear on stage or in interviews. Small acts of kindness he'd quietly given behind the scenes. Yes, the air was heavy with sadness, but woven into it was gratitude. Gratitude for the years they had shared, for the children who would carry his spirit forward, and for the lessons, both joyful and painful, that shaped the lives of those who knew him best. In many ways, the funeral became a mirror, reflecting back to each mourner the importance of the relationships in their own lives. It was a quiet nudge to do the things we so often delay, to make that phone call you've been putting off, to forgive the person you've been holding a grudge against, to tell the people you love that you love them while you still can. As the mourners slowly began to leave the chapel, sunlight broke through the clouds, spilling a warm glow over the steps where people paused to hug, cry, and share one last story about the man they had come to honor. Kelly held her children close as they walked to the car, her face carrying both the weight of sorrow and the quiet strength of a mother, determined to guide her family through the days ahead. In the end, the service wasn't just a goodbye to Brandon Blackstock. It was a celebration of the life he lived, the people he touched, and the love he left behind. It was a reminder that every ending carries the fingerprints of its beginning, and that love, in all its forms, is the thread that ties our stories together. And as those who loved him carry his memory into the years ahead, one thing is certain: though his voice may now be silent, the echoes of his life will never fade. What do you think about what Kelly Clarkson revealed? Let us know in the comments section below. Thank you for watching this video. We hope you found it interesting. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Click the next video shown on your screen to catch up on your favorite celebrity stories. See you there.